assessing a candidate, as all applicants will be given a standardized test. Well, during these 4 days, we got an insight into a few widely used and accepted assessment tools. In the list is another popular tool, which is FIROB, Fundamental Interpersonal Relation Orientation Behavior. To give more detailed overview of the instrument, today we are privileged to have with us Dr. Ranjana Mittal, who is an expert in the same. On behalf of AKGIM, I welcome you, ma'am, to this FTP. Dr. Ranjana is a well-known faculty who has been associated with NTPC, PMI for last 15 years and has trained thousands of people. She is well versed with actively uses methodologies like process work, MBTI, NLP, FIROB, and Johari model, and many more. Dr. Mittal is accredited MBTI and FIROB trainer, certified in DISC profiling and NLP practitioner, and was adjudged as one of the best young trainer by Indian Society of Training and Development. Now, not taking much of the time, may I kindly request Dr. Mittal to kindly start her session. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sarju Pandita, and very good evening to one and all. Namaste. It's certainly a pleasure today and a privilege to be interacting today, this evening, and last day of the 5-day psychometric modules that you've had. So I feel really great, going ahead. However, trainers are normally fond of their voices. So 1.5 hours that we've been given, I hope I'm able to do justice to be able to consolidate, because usually it's a 1-day program that FIROB we take up. So without taking any further time for the because any other nitty-gritties, as I heard, last 2 or 3 days, some of the other facilitators have been mentioning about FIROB. Also, at least by name, most of you must be familiar. Some of you might have already undergone this test or might have used it. So the moment I said interacting, I actually mean that interacting word. So it's not going to be one way. Of course, challenge is there. We are all in a virtual mode. So kindly do utilize a lot of chat box that you have, full use of it. So my question will start pouring, and your questions also at the same time should start pouring. So the first and foremost, how many of you are actually aware of FIROB or have undertaken a very quick, yes, no, that's it, in just about 5-10 seconds. And in the meantime, I'll just share my screen. So is my presentation visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, except for one no, I'm okay. Please, it's a just 2-letter or 3 letters, so very quickly, type it down. So when there is no answer except for one yes, so I presume most of the people have not really come across except for the name. Okay, yeah, so Dr. Sarju says yes. Okay, let's move ahead, very quickly. So I presume you also know a little about your own scoring, etc. Dr. Vidhi, Dr. Sarju. So little aware of. Okay, let's just move across. Couple of questions coming your way. It's more like a small quiz, and I want everybody to shed off their inhibitions and just enjoy and quickly answer this top of the mind. Would you rather have a small family or large family? Quickly, everybody must write down. That's the first one. Okay, quick. Jugeshji, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, everybody should be able to very quickly. The second one, again, lead a team or be led by someone. So everybody has gone for small. Okay, good. be led. Damblekar sir says, okay, that's a privilege speaking to Dr. Damblekar. Yeah, good. So, few answers. Attend a nice big party or small friends gathering. Quickly. This is just nothing right or wrong. Don't think into it. Good, good. Looking for more. Why other people's are, I don't know what's the inhibition. Please share. Yeah, okay, big party. In today's COVID time, of course, it can only be online. Yeah, lovely. Okay, let's move on to a little next round of couple of questions, and here you will answer me. The just think of for yourself. If you go on a solo vacation with no one around that place, how would you feel? What would happen? Just think into yourself and put down your answers, maybe in your notepads or here. If you
Does it
have
mean
to,
that in this place there is nobody, like no restaurants, no
yes,
hotels,
yes,
nothing?
yes. So the facilities are there, but there are no people. So maybe automated or whatever,
Okay, so
or
you want
maybe a
us to
lonely
write
island.
some of the things or what?
Sorry,
Okay, what if you find? Got it, got it.
what if? Whatever your feelings, how would you feel? You would enjoy. I really don't know. Will feel bored. Okay, I may agree with. Yeah, somebody may be scared. Whatever. So just get in touch with some of your thoughts and feelings. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sudoku, lovely silence. If you have to play games alone, or if you were alone in your college or organization, maybe a totally robotic one, you know, the way probably mobile games, yeah, enjoy nature and weather will enjoy. Lovely. So it's just kind of, oh, great. Would get in touch with you to know more, Dr. Damlekar, about that. Akansha also says we'll love that. Okay, so with those, now these were some of the questions, probably just to make you feel relaxed, get in touch with you, some of the different feelings and thoughts in relation with people around. So that brings us to the topic at hand for the day, FIRO B. Now, FIRO B is, if I acronym I just expand, it is fundamental interpersonal relationship for behavior. So the B stands for behavior because there are many versions of FIRO which are there, whether related to feelings, etc. So this is particular, which is more common here we are talking about is behavior. And in most of the training and organizational setups, we normally utilize this more. Of course, in psychotherapy, etc., the other versions are also more prevalent. So, this is when we talk about interpersonal needs. Uh, my question to you is, what comes to your mind? What is interpersonal to you? If some of you can quickly put down or unmute yourself or whatever. What is interpersonal need to you? Just an example.
How you work as a team player?
Okay, yeah, lovely. How you work as a team player. Come on, quickly, top of the mind. Interpersonal.
Talking
What is
honestly to
the.
other people.
Okay, yes. Sharing emotions and affection. Synergy, yeah. Now that brings me to a situation. Suppose you get up in the morning, uh, go through your daily chores, and as you start getting ready for the office, the first thing you open your wardrobe, you stand there, pick up a dress, wear it, and get ready. Now, will you account it as an interpersonal behavior or totally intrapersonal?
It's intrapersonal.
It's
Behavior
intrapersonal. Yeah. Others?
Intrapersonal.
Intrapersonal.
Personal behavior.
Yeah. As we say, within ourselves. Anybody who differs? Okay. Now what happens with me, let me tell you. I don't know, I may be different from you, or you may be also. So when I'm getting ready and I open my wardrobe and choose my dress, certainly one is based on the weather, the mood. But the second thing is, okay, what is my today's agenda? Am I going to be, taking a training session? Is there a meeting? Which are the people whom I'll be interacting, etc., etc. Or is it going to be a day where I'm only going to be, working in my room? And all those things help me decide or choose, what is it that appropriate dress that I want to wear today. Yeah. And in this, the moment I am taking all those consideration, what we were denoting it as personal or intrapersonal, for me, it turns out to be an interpersonal behavior. Right? I hope you all are with me. So even though the decision, the behavior I am doing when I'm alone, I'm not with anybody, however, the consideration is already there in respect to people. And therefore, if you look into yourself, probably you will visualize and get to understand that most of the time, whatever we are deciding, whatever we are doing, to a large extent, our behaviors are impacted by other people's thoughts, how we presume, or our expectations from them, or how they can be impacting us. And therefore, most of our behavior have a tinge of interpersonal. And even though in last few days you must have looked into some of the personality profiles, etc., so personality psychometrics, now this interpersonal relationship tool, FIRO-B, the very, very famous, largely one of the most largely used tool, this talks about interpersonal insights, which gives a different insights or aspects to personality. As such, in the sense, you can talk about what motivates our behavior in interaction with others. So, okay, whereas the personality profiles only talk about what energizes me, probably what influences me, but this gives us many whys, etc., and what would motivate me. And therefore, let's come back to FIRO-B once we have understood a little on interpersonal need. So the FIRO-B tool, as I've said, is very, very largely used tool. It is one of the easy to administer, and some of the purposes for which it is used. And of course, we are not using Psychometric today, but we'll go through the whole tool and you will see how it benefits each one of us for improved self-understanding. And that's the first basic, the phenomenal aspect. And once you understand yourself, obviously the rest follow. Therefore, one-to-one relationships, teamwork, career development, leadership development, etc., and very, very largely utilized as a part of psychotherapy, counseling, etc. also. So, as we see, it is used for personal development, team development, relationship counseling, and conflict resolutions. So what is actually FIRO-B? Just a little bit more background. It was developed by William Schutz, social scientist, in 1948 to 1950, and it was first used to predict how military personnel can work better, and also to analyze their behavior. So in FIRO-B instrument, if you'll go through, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes of your time to go through all the administration of the question, to undertake that. And however, this particular tool, once you are going through, you will feel that many questions are repetitive. However, they are not. And that comes to, I was just having a peep into your session on day 2, and there were a couple of questions which were talking about that, when you have an internal conflict, or we are not giving a right answer, will the questioner be able to take care of that? So in that sense, yes, Pyrobi is a very highly reliable and validated tool. Now, I request all of you to get your pad and pen ready, and we are going to be, as I go forward, you will be using them more and more. Please go on simultaneously as we go ahead. So when Dr. William Schutz created this in 1950, he took care of, or he the three aspects of interpersonal needs he measured, and according to him, and if you'll see, most aspects of interpersonal needs are covered under these three heads, that is inclusion, control, and A. Most of the time as we move ahead, we will be using their first letter to denote them. So ICA, sorry, inclusion, control, affection, right? Now, and all these three needs are measured at two different levels. So two dimensions are there. One is an expressed behavior and one is an wanted behavior. So expressed behavior is which we show it to others, which we actually carry out, whereas want is our need, how we want others to act towards us. So that is a wanted behavior. These parameters, once we understand, it will be easy for us to go ahead and then be able to apply that tool to us. So I once again repeat, the interpersonal needs are taken with three different aspects, that is inclusion. What do we mean by them? We will cover in details. Control and affection. And for all these three needs, there are two dimensions that we will be talking about, expressed and wanted. I will give you enough examples to take care of this, but initially we are just covering all the parameters. And so in total, we will get how many? 6 aspects, because 3 needs and 2 dimensions. So 3 twos are 6 aspects would be there. All 6 are going to be measured by you for your self-determination at 3 levels. That is, you can evaluate yourself as low, medium, or high. Sorry. So you determine or you evaluate yourself as low. Sorry, just a second. Sorry. So you evaluate yourself as low if that particular behavior which we'll be discussing is rarely your type. That is, you seldom use it, or you are uncomfortable to use it, or you use it but once in a while, or you avoid these situations. So if you are having any of this kind of application you feel in your life, then you can rate yourself 0 to 2, which is the low scoring. When you say it is a medium for you, don't go for, central rating otherwise. But when you term it medium, it is noticeable behavior. That is, in many situations, you are using it and you're flexible. But it is not that in almost all situations. So sometimes you use, sometimes you don't use. And in that category, you can give yourself 3 to 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 scoring. And if it is high, which means significantly you display them. Frequently you use it, and you use it with most of the people. So 2 dimensions are coming. If you use it more frequently, that is, and with most people, then it is high. If you use it with some people and some of the time, it is low. With some people, but most of the time, but not with most of the people, then it is medium. So a different subjectivity is there, and accordingly you will score yourself. Any questions still here? I quickly repeat. 3 needs: inclusion, control, affection. 2 dimensions, that is expressed, which we use towards others and which we showcase, and wanted is what we desire others' behavior towards us. And you will rate yourself as low, medium, high. And low, medium, high, you will normally evaluate yourself based on frequency and versatility, right? So this is how we are going to be evaluating ourselves based on, and one thing which you can be having in your mind, that okay, when you go through all I term all these details further with you, whether it is in terms of your official and professional life or your personal life, I would say whatever comes first, top of your mind, you can use that reference, it doesn't matter. So with that, shall we move ahead? Any questions so far?
And can you please repeat the medium one?
Yeah,
as you said,
medium is okay. Yeah, medium is if you are using with few people or you are using with few times. So one of the two is, either the frequency is low or the number of people with whom you are using is low.
Thank you.
Right? So you will score it as a medium. कभी कभी करता हूँ comfortable हूँ, but not कि हर situation में चाहिए तो ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. Right? So we move ahead. Any further? Okay. So therefore, on your notepads, make a matrix like this, a 2x3 matrix. Keep the columns and rows otherwise empty, in which you will be scoring yourself as 0 to 2 or 3 to 6 or 7 to 9. Now when I say EI, and E is, I'm denoting it with a smaller letter, E is expressed and W is wanted, as we've talked about. I is for inclusion, C is for control, A is for affection. So like this, just make 6 particular columns. I hope you have drawn it. This is for your self-estimation. If some of you will desire, I can later on after the session can mail you the questionnaire as well. Shall we proceed? Couple of yes or no's? Okay. Okay, so the first thing we are coming on to is inclusion. That's the first need. Now, inclusion, of course, when yesterday you people were doing, extended disc, or other day you also covered, couple of, had a little understanding about few other psychometrics, then various other terms were, of course, used. But here, inclusion, what does it mean? It talks about, in some of the words, recognition. Recognition not in the terms of appreciation we are using here, but recognition means recognized to be part of a group. So inclusion is about belonging to a group. In very, very layman's language, inclusion is inclusion in a group, belonging to a group. Now that group can be anything. It can be a member of a particular department, it could be meeting, it could be family groups, it could be your book reading club, it could be your sports club, it could be anything, but it talks about involvement, belonging to a group. Now therefore, if we are talking of expressed inclusion means when you take an extent an effort to join others. As I said, you want to join different groups. Now, these groups could be interest groups, these groups could be professional groups, this could be anything. It could be just to take the, ideas, it could be just to make a decision, it could be anything. But extent to which you make an effort to join others into your groups, you take people that, okay, and you make an effort to join others. That, okay, you are taking. Now, in that case, if you are desiring to join lots of groups, normally you want to be member, you take initiatives to join, and you also take initiative, help others to join you. In that case, it can be low, medium, or high. You can rate yourself in that column for your expressed inclusion, right? And wanted inclusion is extent to which you want others to help you to join or involve you to join. That okay, they should give you a if there is a club, there is a sports watching group which is there, and you want them to include you. That is a desired behavior, wanted inclusion. So based on which kind and how many groups you desire to be part of usually, or you want others, help others to join, it can be anything. Now, some of the key words of behavior which are associated with inclusion is association, interaction, distinction, belonging, involvement, etc. So expressed inclusion can be low if you tend to move away from people. So we are talking of group of people. So if you tend to move away from usually groups, then expressed inclusion, you will say it is a low. But when you tend to move towards people in most of the groups, then we'll say expressed inclusion is high. But if in some of the groups you tend to move towards, in some of the groups you tend to avoid, then it could be medium. So based on this, you will be able to put yourself scores, give yourself scores. Now, wanted inclusion is low if you are selective about whom you associate with. That some people should call you, others should not. And it is high if you have a strong need to belong and to be accepted in different groups. कि सब जगह सोशल ग्रुप्स हैं, वो भी किसी के यहाँ मैरिज हो रही है, they should invite you. You know, somebody is having party, office colleague, you would prefer that they invite you. If there is an official meeting going on, you would like to be invited to that particular meeting, being a member of that group, etc. So based on that, you can give yourself marks as low, medium, or high. Give yourself marks, I am saying. It may not be exact, but you can give the marks in that range, because that will help us to decide some few more things later on. So moment you have done, just give me a signal before we move on to the next need. Just put why if you have done, given yourself scores. Just write down why. Yeah, those who have done, write down why quickly. Give yourself. So Damlekar sir, Yatika ji, Gitu, Kamboj, you have done. Quickly give yourself marks. I will just show you a grid in case. Yes. I'm waiting so that we all are together. Yes, so I presume now mostly. So it should look to you, you know, your grid should look like this to you, where you are putting your marks. Okay, so we move on to the next one. Okay, a little exercise, probably, you know, some of the examples you can think of a kind of groups, you know, where you have actively wanted recognition, attention, acknowledgement, wanting to belong. Just think in your mind, etc. And similarly, some examples where you have actively expressed recognition or attention towards others' achievement. And at this level, before we go on to control, if any one of you would like to share your experience that, okay, this is who you are, and these are the kind of groups you want to be member, or you are one of those loner kinds who avoid people. Anybody would like to share? Because initially when we started, you know, okay, if you are alone, then how do you feel? So you could see that how differently we were, you know, giving our answers. Similarly, large family, small family, etc., etc. So you have. So anybody who would like to share his or her own, experiences about self, that okay, I am this kind of a person.
Yeah, so one example which is coming in my mind is like in my college, we have different clubs which are mentored by the faculty and it is run by the students. And online also we are running it. And in offline mode, we used to have like every Thursday or every Friday, we used to have activities there. So
Right.
though I'm a mentor of one of the clubs, but many times I used to go for the activities of other groups also to see how the groups are, what activities they are doing, and many times to encourage students. So
Wow.
I think this is an example of how I express recognition and attention towards other achievement.
Very right. Very right. Thank you so much for sharing. I couldn't see your name because of the screen,
Okay,
right
my
now.
name is Shraddha.
Yeah, Shraddha. Thank you so much. Yes, that's an express recognition, and you can feel, that okay, it is going at least for sure medium level. It can be high based on if you also are expressing this way, in your other areas as well. Yeah, thank you so much. So we move on to now the second need, which is about control. Now, normally in Indian scenario, we have a negative connotation of control. So please be little careful. Here, control doesn't mean the actual thing that we usually, mean by control, that controlling others. Yes, it does have some relationship with that, but it is not in a negative connotation. If we want to actually understand, or the one word which sums it up is influence, or responsibility. So that is what, and if you relate it with the extended disc which you covered yesterday, there is a lot of similarity, and of course we have with MBTI and extended disc, correlations which are there with the 5OB. So this control is about taking initiative, influencing, leadership. Now, leadership doesn't mean just a kind of designation. It means once again initiating a thing, a role which you take up, actions, organizing, responsibility, decision making, and it also refers to structure. Means organized thing. It is not just a kind of chaotic that okay, let things evolve. You want a certain structure. That is again a higher control. Now, there are, of course, different dimensions, and as we can understand, many times we see people that it is very difficult for them to delegate. Some people delegate easily, let go, but there are some people who don't allow things to delegate. Similarly, for some people, whenever they have a work, there's a lot of competence and competitions, both things which are there on the mind. So they will take it very, very seriously. For them, it cannot be just a learning exercise, that okay, let me. So once they've taken, they want, to influence others. Everybody must work, must come out with good results, etc., which means a higher need for control, which is there. They will not be okay, just enjoy and let it be for learning. So for them, there is a competition, there is an influence, there is a responsibility which is coming with it. Now let's understand the dimensions. So what is expressed control? Expressed control is extent to which you make an effort to take charge. Whether you are going in a train, whether you are organizing maybe a function, maybe a social function. So nobody has, even if they have not appointed you as a leader, you take charge. Okay, let's do like this. We will do this. This person will do this. So you do some goal settings, you give directions, you take initiative. That is an express control. Wanted control is where you want people to have a clear guidance being giving. There should be defined situation, there should be clarity in roles, etc. So you want others who must give it to you. It can be in society, it can be the place where we are living, that okay, community service, there should be clear expectation, there should be defined role, somebody should do this, etc. So you wanted control, that means you desire it to be there. Now let's understand the extremes. Express control is said to be low if you tend to avoid making decision or taking initiative. You are good to do your work, but you allow others to do it on their own. It is not talking about skill that you cannot do it, but unless you have been asked, you don't prefer to take initiative, help others to say that you do this, etc. So you allow them their space and you do your own work. That is a low. When it is high, you take initiatives in almost all situations. No matter which area it is, you take on responsibility, you do goal setting, you assign roles, etc. So you take it upon your shoulder, you take initiative so that work goes on and it sees the end of the result. However, in certain situations you like doing it, but in certain situations you are okay, it doesn't matter, then you tend to be having a medium express control. But in most of the situation, if you feel and nobody's there and you'd like to come up and take responsibilities and initiative, when some people say, I am high on initiative. So every situation and their hand will go up. I will do it. I'll do it. So that could be higher express. Wanted control is low when you're selective about letting others make decision for you. You allow some people, but you don't prefer. So, okay, if my parent is doing, I have to follow, but I feel bad about it. So even my boss is, I feel that, okay, give me the work, but don't interfere too much. Don't tell me. So we feel selective about allowing people to decide about us. High when we want others to assume responsibility, provide structure. And medium when you're comfortable, sometimes you take a lead, when sometimes others give you direction, you are okay, sometimes you are not okay with others giving you the structure, the responsibility, your roles, etc. But people who have been wanted low control, then obviously uh, it is like anybody making decision, and most of the time they feel very, very uncomfortable. So they want work to be given to them, or they would like to work in a situation where they choose to decide what they have to do and how they have to do. And they say also, I can't work under somebody. That means low wanted control. So based on this, I would suggest, first think of certain situations where you have been actively giving directions, regulating discussions, maybe in a group discussion, as we all have seen, whenever there is a group discussions going on for selection process, etc. There are some uh, students or participants who will actively, try and guide, okay, let's make rules, we will do this way, etc., etc. That means they're expressing control. Now, it can be a learned behavior or it can be a natural behavior. So, if they are doing it normally in most of the situation, it is a high express need. But if it is only for that particular situation, then it is a learned behavior and not a need which is there. Similarly, think of certain situations where others have been showing authority, making decision, etc. And what have you been feeling? Whether you were comfortable in your clubs, others taking a decision and you abiding by them, whether when your bosses gives you direction, at home also you allow your partner or other people to take a lead and you're comfortable that they assign you work and whatever can be done. So just think of those example situations, and based on it, you can mark yourself, give yourself low, medium, or high scores where you think you fit in. Culture-wise also, it has been seen that these scores vary a lot. Now, in our Western counterparts, especially in America, the gross scores, it has been seen that they have been found at least medium to upper medium range, that they are in the control, because that self-determination for them is high. They want to take lead in most of the situation. They're not comfortable others taking a lead most of the time, or they are in a medium role in wanted control also. In India and in China and in Eastern counterparts, we have seen that people are either very high or very low. passive aggressive kind of personalities that we usually see have a connotation over here. So at this point, I feel you have been able to give yourself marks based on some of the thoughts that you've had and the definitions that we have used. So the second column of your matrix you must have filled. EC and WC. I once again request you to give me an indication once you have filled it by putting Y or N. Yeah. Good, good. So Yatika Shraddhaji says they have done it already. Because only you can decide where you are. Nobody else. When other people try to judge you, they're only having their perception. But you know your behavior in different situations. Okay. Requesting others also to very quickly put down their. That will help me to go further, because otherwise at the end we'll not be able to have a consolidate good exercises. So still some people have given yes, others okay, we'll give it a 10-15 more seconds. Waiting for your yeses and nos. If you have a question, then let me know. There's no problem. If you are having difficulty to understand particular thing, yeah. Okay, Divya, Namita ji, everybody says they've done. It's a very profound, tool. The moment we complete it, at that time, the insights you will have, you will be amazed. So let's move with the third need, affection. Now, sometimes affection and inclusion gets confused, because in inclusion also we are talking about involvement, belonging, etc. And in affection, the word itself connotates, the similar kind of feelings, but the two are different. This is also talking about closeness, warmth, openness in relation with the other. However, here we are talking about one-to-one relationship. So one word which summarizes affection is connection. My one-to-one connection with people that I want to have. Whereas inclusion, we were talking about belonging to a group. So there were large groups that we were talking about. Any group that you want to be member, or you are inviting people to be there. In affection, we are talking of within those groups or otherwise connection. Right? Now, if we look at it in life, sometimes we feel there are people, with whom you have relationship. It could be your partner, it could be your children, it could be your friends, etc. And the kind of warmth that you are giving, or you are things that you are sharing, the other person is not having that intense kind of connection. Maybe they are not opening up to that extent. They listen to you and they move on. Or it could be just reverse. You may be having, less need to share the in-depth relationship, whereas the other person wants to come more close. Even with your 2 or 3 children at home, you can see the difference, that one of the child could be having a more higher conversation, one-to-one connection, whereas the other person is more on self. That okay, they can discuss whenever the need is, but otherwise that very, very close, sensitive, and that kind of relationship may be missing. Now, this is this need which guides us, and which defines our relationship. And between partners, boss, subordinate, team members, etc., it is very, very important. Let's see. So expressed affection is extent to which you get close to people, or degree of comfort you get in being open in sharing. So you show concern about people's life, Okay, how are you? What are you doing? Would you like to tell me, etc. So you are taking initiative in your relationship with anybody, be it a friend, be it a teammate, be it a child, be it a sibling, and you share your personal feelings and opinion. You ask them also to share with you, and you share you are comfortable in sharing. So if it is high comfort with most of the people, of course it is high. If it is with some people, higher, but with other people it may not be, it could be medium. But if you are usually not very comfortable in sharing or opening up to a great extent, then of course it is a lower one. In a wanted affection, it is extent to which you want others to act warmly with you. So it is not about your sharing, but you want others to share with you. यार मैं तो सब कुछ बताता हूँ, इतनी सारी बातें करता हूँ, the other person doesn't share what is happening in his or her life. Yeah, okay, they don't have a need, पता ही नहीं चला कि उसको ये हो गया, etc. That means we want, but the other person is not sharing. So you want others being flexible, accommodating, and making yourself available to others. That is a wanted affection. Let's see some ranges. Expressed affection is low if you are cautious about initiating close personal relationships. And it is high if it readily establishes close personal relationship with others. जहां जाते हैं बहुत लोगों के साथ आपकी अच्छी डीप बॉन्ड्स बन जाते हैं. अगर टाइम लगता है, यूजुअली नहीं करते हैं, हार्डली एक आधे के साथ करते हैं, then it is low. Wanted affection is low if you're selective about with whom to form close relationship. कौन जना आपके लिए initiate करे, कौन ना करे. If it is high, you want others to stay, have a close relationship with you. You want most of the people to open up. So based on this, give yourself range of marks for the two categories, that is for expressed affection and wanted affection, very quickly, because now we have loads of other things also to do. Thank you, Damblika sir. Okay. Lovely. Waiting for others to finish. I once again show this slide so that it helps you to give your self marks. So those of you who have not given me a thumbs up or why, please do it quickly that you've done. Lovely. Because now please do ensure that your grid, all 6 columns are filled up. Whatever marks, range of marks, whatever. But all 6 should be filled up at this particular time. Because then only we'll be able to proceed further. Okay, so now what I want you is do your horizontal totals as well as vertical totals. So rows and columns, and then a grand total. It should. What do they mean? We will talk a little later, but you should be able to first bring out three vertical totals, two horizontal totals, and a grand total. Done? Okay, great. Now, out of the 3 vertical totals that you have done, maybe you can just put it down here, which particular need it is the highest. Let's share. आपके लिए कौन सी नीड जो है वो हाईएस्ट है? किसमें हाईएस्ट टोटल है? वर्टिकल टोटल्स वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. So whether inclusion की सबसे ज्यादा आया है, control आया है, affection आया. Of course it can be close to each other. Yeah. So Shraddha says it is inclusion, control. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There are less male members' names that I can see out here. Okay. Yes. If you will see so many correlations, you will be able to draw right from, you'll start beginning. Yeah. Till now, we have only got these 2 needs. Affection में अभी तक किसी का highest नहीं है. Maybe closely following it. I want everybody to put it. I'm not going to remember it and this chat will go away. Yeah. Okay. I believe those who wanted to share have shared, because the mathematics wasn't very high. It's a small totaling that we have to do. Some more would like to share? Now, what does it mean? In case you're expressed for those whose total expressed is greater than total wanted. That is, the first row's total is more than the second row's total. It means they take more initiatives than having others to do it. Yeah. Damlekar sir, I had known. In case it is total expressed is less, then you want others to take more initiative. You may feel dissatisfied. Because if others won't take it, then you will feel uncomfortable. And if it is equal, you are cautious about expressing a behavior. So you want to be sure and then you respond. So you take a guarded decision. You analyze the situation and then based on what kind of people are there, you will either express or you will withdraw. So this is about rows column. Now coming to the 3 needs where we were saying which one is the highest, and many of you have written inclusion and couple of you have written control, etc. The need in which you have the highest score, that is the most comfortable interpersonal area for you and the most dominant interpersonal need. And this is that need that you will be least willing to sacrifice in any of the social or professional life. You will be comfortable in those situations where this particular need is getting fulfilled. So both in relationships, professional as well as social and personal one. So if this need is getting fulfilled, you will be more happier, you will be more satisfied more. Yes, Yatika, that is possible. So that means it is more related to social, and here we will go more with the, ki expressed case mein hai. But that means for you, inclusion and affection both are very, very important. And for you, that relationship part with the people, I would say, is which you is deciding factor. And if it combines with an extroversion, then obviously you are a people's person. Even otherwise, you are a people's person. But if it is an extroversion also there, then you are a high social person. I will just go a little further. If you have high total need for inclusion, affection, and control, whichever 13 May to 18 May hai, whichever is higher, accordingly you can, for those inclusion is high, they prefer to have socially involvement life, irrespective of who's initiating. For those, some of you have written higher control, and if it is a high need also, they prefer structured, organized situations. Who's doing it, that comes later. But they want it is a structure, organized, systematic, as they call it. For people whom the affection is also high, they like a lot of warmth and closeness in one-to-one relationship. So the one-to-one relationships are not kind of impersonal or just, work related, but it is a lot of warmth, closeness in that one-to-one relationship. If it was low in a particular area, then you can see low means inclusion means indifferent to being with others, no matter who initiates it. Low control means you want more of a freedom, you want no structure types, you want total flexibility. Something like, some people do it in research or maybe in ad agency. You don't want any kind of lot of creativities to be there. So you prefer having no structure at all. Structured situation binds you in that case. That means low control. If you have a lower scores on affection, then you want a formal business-like relationship. Bolenge work and personal life separate. So that's the kind of needs that you will be going ahead with. Now the total scores, the grand total as we say, they can be in these ranges. Anybody having total of 0, grand total of 0. We've had a case study in NTPC. 2 or 3 members we have found. There's nothing wrong with it. 0 to 15, the total grand score. Anybody? Okay, you can ask the organizers to do it. So anybody who's having a total grand score, what we were saying, the right bottom hand corner, the total grand score, anybody having 0 to 15 score. I feel somebody should be there, because when we were talking about if you go solo on the trip and if you are in the organization where you don't have to interact, and some people say, okay, I'll be, having a solace, I don't want people, etc. So somebody having a grand total between 0 to 15? Say no at least. I'm sure my voice is not so threatening. So if you're not, yes. Thank you. Yeah. So nobody. Okay, great. That means there is no solitary pursuit. We had a person who had, as I mentioned, so one was a very, very senior trainer, of course, and yet the person is in that particular range. So we were discussing as to what does it mean and what kind of relationships he may be having even at home, etc. So there's nothing wrong. It is what motivates you and what kind of behavior therefore will be there, right? If it is 16 to 26, medium low, involvement sometimes is a source of satisfaction, depends upon people and context, but usually not a people person. If it is 27 to 38, which I believe a lot of people would be having, because in the inclusion high has, so obviously they will tend to be going in this area. So involvement is usually source of satisfaction. That means people should be around. I should be a member of group, or I should have close relationship with somebody, or at least I should work with people. So rather than a solitary pursuit. And if it is 39 to 54, then you derive satisfaction by being with people. Now, to understand these aspects, now that all of us have a scores, before we go with certain activities, okay. Okay, Damleka sir, I'm of course. So you can take a questionnaire also at the, in your personal time, which I'll be mailing to all of you. So 51 out of. So that's I was too generous. Yeah, maybe. So before we go ahead with some or one or two activities to understand more about it, I want you people to unmute yourself, and after reflecting on your score, would you like to share a little about yourself, that or any of your experience, that yes, this is what I feel I used to do it, or this is what is the kind of life I lead, and this is what my scores also tell me. Anyone?
May I?
Yeah, please, sir, go ahead.
Yeah. You spoke about self-determination, so it's very difficult to speak about myself. But I'll take a chance. I would like to speak about the control aspect. I was wondering, what could I do in terms of influence? I looked at experiences and events to justify my numbers. About 4 weeks back, some student connected with me on Facebook, and he said, I want to connect, of course. I said, why? I don't connect very easily that way, although I have a large number. He said, I want guidance in my PhD. I said, we can do that. So now I've been pushing him once in a while. Spoke to him today. I said, he has not submitted his research problem yet. So today I connect. I've never seen him. So this could be an example of influence in an area where I have nothing to do with him. There's no monetary game. I'm not even going to be very happy just because I did good to somebody else.
Okay.
Now the opposite of that is the wanted area, where I want somebody else to do to me. So I pestered my local resident welfare association to clean up the trash somewhere, or there are some tree limbs somewhere in the children's park. I complain about it 3-4 times, send them photos, etc. I demand that they lead for what we have elected them for. So that could be the other side. So therefore, I've given 9 and 9 in both the northern and southern hemispheres of my control aspects.
Right. So yes, that in any kind of situation, you prefer things which are structured, organized. They are being defined responsibility wise, etc., and they're taken care of, and goals are met. And we have seen it, in different assignments as well with you, that okay, how seriously you take all those. So it cannot be just, okay, taken lightly and let's just experience. So yeah, that is evident. Thank you so much for sharing. That brings out, personality as well as, of course, which aspects you have. So anybody else? In terms of relationship, one-to-one affection or influence, etc., that you'd like to share any of your experience and the kind of scorings that you have got. Any insights? or are they too personal, so therefore we are not comfortable? But I would prefer, because most of you are facilitators, teachers, and so we have a kind of a like-minded group. Even if not for yourself, you can understand your relationship now with others. That, okay, why is it that you behave in a particular manner, but the response from the other people is slightly different, etc. Okay, let's look at a couple of activities, small, that we will do it together. When I say we'll do it together, I mentioned a word in the beginning and I said interaction. And there I would like, more of you to take up that part. Now, this is to exploring your expressed needs. Just think about it in your own mind. How would you go about joining a new group? And this group could be anything. Now, what makes you join and how do you go about it? What do you look for in a group when you think that I want to be part of it? What should be there? What makes you attracted towards a group? Okay. So it could be anything, that, okay, expressive members, goal, how can I help? Yeah. So this is express control once again. So it could be, okay, we will have fun. Yeah, something new. Very right. So just think about it. And now this is what the answers are. Your highest express need score indicates the face you show first to a group. आप कौन सी चीज उन्हें, for example, Dr. Damlekar said, how can I help? And he said, my highest is control. So for some people who look at inclusion, they will look at that, okay, interpersonal, okay, how I will be satisfied, whether we'll have fun or not, etc., etc. So it represents the social arena where you are comfortable, and that is the thing you look for in a group. That, okay, if it is a pure fun and your control is high, maybe you are not in for it unless the goals are met, right? For some people, it could be, close relationship, and there if you feel a lot of friends are there who are like-minded and you can have a close, so you want to be a member. So you choose a group or you get attracted towards a group based on whether it is related with your expressed needs or not. That is how same group can you be a matter of attraction to one person and may not be a matter of attraction to another person. Number 2, about your wanted needs. Now, think about it in your mind, or maybe you can share, what is it that you want your boss must do to win your respect? What will make you, like your boss? क्या करें आपके बॉस, चाहे वो घर के बॉस हो चाहे ऑफिस के बॉस हो? So what is it that you want from your boss? They should do, in which way they should act, etc., so that you will admire, or admiration will go up. Okay, appreciative and listening. And Shraddha, what is your highest wanted need? Yeah,
Yeah,
solve my
highest wanted need.
yeah.
Okay, it wanted again. It was seen like my highest both in expressed and wanted was in inclusion.
Inclusion, yeah. And here you said again, listening, etc., which is in once again, because you want in a group somebody to appreciate, and very right. Good listener, unbiased. Once again related to inclusion or affection. Reasonable. Now, reasonable can come from either control mode, because that's a, if you are talking of justice, the word, then it can be from the control. Taking care of my grooming, okay, so that we know where it is coming, and it could be inclusion. Okay, good listener, lovely. So what our highest wanted needs are, which used to predict leader or boss that you are most likely to be satisfied in. So आपकी wanted need अगर satisfy हो रही है, you will like that boss. or a team member. But if your wanted need is the one which is in conflict and not getting satisfied there, they are everything else but not this. You want a good listener and your boss is everything but a good listener. So for you, he or she is going to be a very, very bad, you will say, or ineffective could be the word that would be. So from where that subjective decision making comes to us, which kind of group we want to join, what we want in our, what kind of bosses we like, is based on our own personal needs. We label people. And that reminds me of the famous saying, when you point a finger at somebody, please remember 3 fingers are pointing towards you. So they are telling so much about ourselves, actually, Yeah, fair and just when you are saying. So what is your need? And that is why we want something from the other. Now we can understand others. Now let's try this activity. Here I am showing certain scores. Think about what kind of person he is, Arvind is, and then try and describe one line about what kind of person is Arvind. Anybody? Sorry, couldn't hear. Has to be. Unmute yourself and let's hear your wonderful voices as well.
Maybe a controlling and a dominant person.
So when we say controlling and dominating, just think about it. When we were talking about control, what were certain, adjectives that we were using?
Maybe more structured. He wants more, authority and responsibility to be properly in a structure, in an organization structure.
Okay. So the 2-3 words you have got it right. We will look at it some more things. Structure, responsibility, you've got it right. Thank you so much. That's lovely. Okay, Yatika says dictator. Just mark your words and let's say low affection and introversion. Okay. Yes. Passion towards career. Very nice. Very, very nice. How would be his relationship, close relationships? He's an influencer, Shraddha says. Lovely. Autocratic. And when we say autocratic, we will try and understand whether positive attitudes towards employees. Mohammed Khan sir, please try and unmute yourself and tell me what you mean by it. Positive attitude. What makes you say he'll have a positive attitude?
It makes me, when I'm asking him question regarding the particular situation or problem, ma'am, and he tackle the problem such a manner in an empathetic way. What I think about the problem and the problem that particular my bosses think about it. That's not empathetic way, ma'am.
No. Which particular score makes you feel that he will be empathetic?
Empathetic, madam. Empathy is best.
Empathy is fine, but which score of Arvind you think will help him become empathetic? Because the scores that we are talking about, 381 and 110. So on inclusion, he's 3 and 1. On control, so that is where I'm just trying to relate. It's okay. Let's come back. My another question to all of you is, how do you think he will be in his relationships, one-on-one relationships? That is his affection scores. What?
Low on it.
Sorry?
He might be low on affection.
Yes, he is low on affection. And therefore, what kind of relationships? Will he have large number of friends, one-to-one close relationships, etc.?
Actually, I'm not able to see him with even large or small number of friends. Maybe 1 or 2 very close.
Okay. Yeah. So there again, because his desire is 0. He doesn't want people to, come and share with him, open up. and he himself doesn't take. He's very low, isn't it? So when he has his close relationship, he's one person who's not wanting to open up or share. Are you getting that? So weak in one-to-one relationship. Jukesh ji, you are saying right, but I would prefer not to use the word weak here. We don't know. His ability may be pretty good. If he wants, he can. So that will not be able to decide from here. But what we say is his desire for relationship is low.
So we can use the word desire.
Yes. He's
Right.
not comfortable. He has no need for a strong relationship. Yeah?
Right, madam. Thank you.
Yes. So his intention is towards responsibility, but not an affection. Yes, very rightly said. Small number of faithful friends. Could be, could not be. I'm not answering that because I certainly disagree. I will come to that. Okay, let's see. I have put in this description now in the next slide. Let's see your understanding. Let's go by inclusion. And please remember his inclusion scores are 3 and 1. That is 3 on express. He's almost moving in the middle medium range, right? Whereas his wanted is low. So let's see first the inclusion part. Arvind is somewhat uncomfortable around people and will tend to move away from them. He's selective about the associates because his expressed is also on the border of low and medium. He tends to have an I'll call you when I need you, but don't call on me. Why can we say that? Because his wanted is only one. So he doesn't want people to come and disturb him and invite him over so many parties, etc., etc. Bolega, nahi, please leave me. I will call you if I need you. So he's neither a joiner nor a meeting lover. He's happy to work on his own and not join different kinds of groups. Yes, Yatika ji, very, very, that's exactly one. So now let's have a look at the control scores. Now control, we said, is about influencing, about the structure, about the responsibility. And let's see here, his expressed score is very, very high, whereas wanted is low. Now this is a kind of where some of you were saying he can be autocratic, he can be dictator, etc. Let's have a look. Some of it is true, maybe he's... So he can and does take on responsibility of leadership because it is high. So for him, it is very, very important, of course. His self-concept is of confidence and adequacy. So those people who take a lot of initiative, they want to, create structure for others, who go for a lot of goal settings, etc., who influence others, who can persuade others, their confidence level, adequacy level is high. So, but he has a strong need for recognition and to drive. Or agar ye nahi satisfy hogi, then he can become autocratic. So when we were saying autocratic, etc., yes, in case it doesn't get satisfied easily, he can become. So he can overcompensate for some inferiority complex because 8 is a pretty high on control, and that is what. And because he is avoiding, so this is coming from the feeling part. We will not get into because behavior pe focus kar rahe hain, but he's attracted towards those who will give him recognition. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So a lot of people would be around jo usko give him that kind of a leadership, and those who do not want to control him. But Arvind is going to be very, very miserable if others try and control him because his wanted control is very low. So agar koi bhi jana unke upar vapas control ya leadership, or he will try to guide him, influence him, then he will become kind of dissuading. He will say, leave me. So he only wants to control others, but he doesn't want others to have a structure, tell him what to do, etc. He's happy with himself. Now, affection scores we were discussing only. He's very, very low on both expressed and wanted. So he says he's very cautious about intimate relationships or close relationships. He's very selective about it. Now, low scores, once again, please remember that is where I was slightly cautioning you. We are not talking about his or anybody's, ability or skill. So ability or skill can be there. So if he wants, probably he can create a relationship, but his desire is not there. So he doesn't want to have a strong, close relationship, no close friends, but working relationship could be fine. But he can do it. But he doesn't want, otherwise, besides work, you should have a very, very close relationship. And this, for this reason, there can be, he can hurt people, or there could be a reason that he was hurt in the past, and that is why he's cautious about his relationship. He's reserved about his feeling. He would not like somebody to ask him. He would not like to share all this. So this was just about by having a look at the basic interpersonal needs, we can feel what kind of subordinate he could be, what kind of jobs he would be good, comfortable to deal with. So certainly he would not like to be one of those people who would be working in a bigger groups, or who would be working close in touch with one or two, three people, etc. But he would like to take responsibility. तो आप उसे charge दे सकते हैं. But if you put him under some people, then he will not be comfortable working under somebody. तब वो rebel हो सकता है. So this gives us an idea that what kind of roles are also more suitable. Now, that is, with that, we are almost coming to the end, because, of course, we could have gone ahead with a lot of other activities as well, but the time is almost ending. So now let's just talk about, therefore, this particular tool gives us a lot of glimpse into, one, to understand ourselves. Whatever our relationships were, whatever situations were there where we was more satisfied, where we were more comfortable, you look at yourself, what kind of people you had been more comfortable, what kind of work situations were there where you enjoyed, or which were difficult. You will find many of those answers hidden in these needs. So for compatibility, etc., this is a very, very perfect tool which can be used. We also take the FIRO scores of two people, and then for have a compatibility, boss and subordinate. For example, the way we were talking about Arvind, that okay, he can be very probably comfortable in a boss role, but he'll be very difficult in a subordinate's role. Or he can be a subordinate, but he can be subordinate, obviously, in that role where the boss is not a bossy. Boss is giving him space. So he will take a lot of initiative, he will do his work, because he's high on expressed, initiative, responsibilities, etc. But the moment you try to intrude, the moment you try to tell him, or, fix up limits, he will be uncomfortable. So this kind of subordinates works very well if you delegate a lot of responsibility to them, and they don't require somebody, and they'll do it by themselves. So based on these scores, you will tend to understand how it is, that working relationship. Similarly, for therapy of couples or parents and children also, this tool is very, very good. It serves so well. You understand the basic needs. Of course, we are not going into the bringing up of years as to what could have been the reason of these scores, etc. But what we try and understand is that this is where the person is. This is what the needs are. And based on these needs, the other person's behavior can be slightly altered. As we talked about in case of Arvind, that okay, if he's your subordinate, give him a lot of delegate the task. And then don't ask, just give him the broad outline and he will do it. Then he'll be comfortable, right? You give him charge of any other subordinates, he'll be happy. He can get the work done. But don't ask, him to form a good relationship with other people, spend a lot of hours, he's not comfortable. That he will not. So for compatibility, for teamwork, for signing team, and that is where the Will Truth used it for forming a high performance team in US Army using the FIROV tool, and this is how it was implemented, right? So this is a little about a highly validated tool, highly reliable tool. It has got a very strong correlation both with extended disk as well as MBTI, etc. And these tools in combination helps different organizations for people development and their behavior. So any questions, I'm open to. If you just want to share your scores or any insight, or if you have any questions.
May I?
Yes, please. I will just stop sharing so that I can, please go ahead.
In the control issues, you mentioned about responsibility and recognition at the same time.
Yes.
That taking responsibility is probably associated with the need for recognition. Was that a suggestion, or were the two things different?
No, there is some part, of course, which is there, because when we are taking responsibility, the underlying need is somewhere, either by doing certain things, that you are recognized for that task. It may not be for the appreciation per se, but maybe your inner need is certainly there, why you want to do. So that need, either for fame or for doing a task, that okay, a good task, etc., that you have achieved. So that internal desire is certainly there, which is an unfulfilled somewhere.
That brings up a corollary. Is this age related? I mean, would youngsters be more interested in getting recognition for what they do? And maybe once you grow older, you say, what does it matter? I mean, I'm not looking for a selfie.
Yes. So it will be different. However, if you have created a structure doing a particular task, then for that particular work, so it's not a fame per se, that, right? So that recognition is, but you're recognized for doing that task, which task you can do. So Dr. Dumblaker can do. He's recognized to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So not a fame per se. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. We have a, yes. Okay. So otherwise, that's all from me. And in case any one of you would feel like, using a questionnaire, etc. for this, because even when we administer the questionnaire, before administering, we say that, okay, self-determination of scores helps, right? And in this manner, now you will be able to take the test, you'll be able to compare your scores, and any of the need area, I won't say, go overboard in case you have a low scores. It doesn't mean you lack anything. If it is too high, then yes, you can look at it that, okay, why there is so much of it? Can I try and modulate? And rather than extremely, because wherever it may not be there, you will feel dissatisfied. So we can modulate it gradually. So if it is at 9, maybe slowly we can try and bring down by asking ourselves up to 7, which could be kind of good, and it won't hurt us. That what is bothering me. But if it is 0 or 1, you can still be comfortable in your working relationships, etc. But there is no need to take the lead. You have to find a job or an environment you have to create where you'll be comfortable using that style. That's the only thing. So for all your successes, effectiveness, and your dissatisfaction, you will get your answers from your scores. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure, talking to all of you. And that's all from my side. So thank you so much, Dr. Sarju. And yes, Dr. Dumblaker, after I left, PMI got transferred. So after so many years. we have met when we have been. And I'm back to my, maybe days of Amity Noida, where I was HR professor before joining the NTP.
Okay,
Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for letting us understand how expressed and desired behavior of an individual can be underlying factor for any relationships. And on the top of it, our own personal understanding through inclusion and affection. Basically, what I believe that these tests measure how people differ in their motivation, values, priorities, and opinions with regard to different tasks and situations. So in terms of personality, the test can give an indication of the working style favored by a person and how they interact with both their environments and the fellow workers. But what I can say is that these tests are helpful at analyzing the more hidden traits of an individual. So therefore, thank you so much, ma'am, for having a deep insight on the subject. Now, may I request Dr. Vidhi Agarwal to please present e-memento to our speaker of the session, Ms. Ranjana Mittal. Dr. Vidhi, kindly do the honors.
Yes, ma'am.
A small token of appreciation from our side, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for guiding us.
Here we are at the end of 5 days online FDP on psychometric testing and analysis. During these 5 days, we had great learning sessions blended with very fruitful and candid discussions. We had good hands-on experience with some of the tools that included LSI, DISC, and FIROB now, which were seamlessly facilitated by our resource persons, Ms. Anila, Mr. Shahu, Ms. Lawli, and Dr. Ranjana, respectively. Therefore, allow me to say that the purpose of FDP has been completely accomplished. I would like to pay my gratitude to all the participants for their positive participation in FDP. And I hope that what you have learned during these 5 days will help you a lot on your personal and professional front. On behalf of my FDP team and AKGIM, I would like to express my appreciation to all the participants, Executive Director, GMA, Sri Vinay Gupta ji, guests, and my faculty colleagues for taking out time from their busy schedule to attend this FDP. Well, no event happens without the support of a team. So it won't be apt on my part if I don't extend my heartfelt thanks to our director, Dr. T.R. Pandey, my team members, Dr. Vidhi Agarwal and Dr. Ritesh Singhal, my faculty colleagues, and all those who directly and indirectly supported us in making this FDP happen. I also owe my deep sense of appreciation to our resource persons, Ms. Anila, Mr. Ajay, Ms. Lawli, and Dr. Ranjana, who wholeheartedly accepted our invite. Also would like to thank Professor Pankaj for his contribution towards this FTP. Hope to see you all in our forthcoming FTPs as well. But before I finally sign off, would like to kindly request Dr. Ritesh to post today's feedback at Independence link. Thank you everyone once again. Take care, stay safe, Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to paste the feedback link on the chat box. And I request all the participants to please fill this particular feedback, and this feedback would be recorded against your attendance also. Thank you.